Hi, Swarthos here again. Didn't really have any big news to report. Um, I'm working on setting up a podcast. I have some free podcasting software. It's basically just a recorder that I can use either on my iPad or on the computer here. Um, One of the good things about the podcasting, I think, is that I don't have to have an image of myself. I don't really like being on camera so much. Um, I'm shy by nature, and I not much to look at. I don't have much to say either. I'm not much to listen to either. But that's not the point. The point is that I just have my own thoughts and ideas and observations that I like to put down into some type of recorded media. Um, and I already know what I look like, so I don't really need to see myself talking. Anyways, I'm working on setting up a vlog, maybe transitioning, not vlog, more more brain damage. Um, Setting up a podcast, a, a strict podcast, um, with just a static image. I've done it a couple times now where I've just put a static image. But I've been working on a good album cover or what have you, whatever you call that. Excuse me. Oh, it's water. This looks futuristic, right? It's silver aluminum. It's like something you would see like in a sci-fi movie that they'd be carrying with them across the deserts of Mars or something. Always wanted to. Well, always. One of my fantasies is to go to Mars, and but not like by conventional means. Excuse me. I haven't coughed all day until I sat down in front of this. I must be allergic to something here in this general vicinity. But yeah, I'd like to go to Mars, but not by conventional means. I wouldn't want to have to travel there, like, take a 6-month trip inside of a capsule or something. And I would like to have the comforts of like a Star Trek type ship or something, and or maybe step through a portal like in Doom and suddenly be on the planet Mars. But nothing that demolecularizes you. I wouldn't want to be demolecularized. Uh, yeah. Mars. So I could carry my silver water bottle with me and drink from it as I race across the flat deserts of Mars in my rocket-powered speed craft before stopping off at a cantina where there's a green-skinned alien woman to wait upon me. Anyways, a podcast. Going to be gearing towards a podcast, because, well, one, I can do it while I'm laying in bed on my iPad, which is really cool because that takes minimal amount of effort to just sit there and talk about who knows what. I'm on duty. I've been going to the well every day now. I go there and I check the pressures of the system. There's a pressure tank there that pushes the water through the system. I got to make sure that pressure is up, and Um, make sure nobody tried to break in. A couple of times I've gone there, and there's obviously been attempted vandalism take place where people have thrown objects over into the compound. Broken bottles, shoes, wigs. I found wigs, hypodermic needles. There's a lot of people that, like I mentioned in a prior, I don't know if it was a podcast or a video clip I did here, that there was a couple of people sitting nearby the entrance to where I go, and one looked pretty rough. One looked pretty rough. But so we have in front of the place pretty thick bushes and stuff where people can hide. They stash things in there, and you know, like I said, we found hypodermics in there, used hypodermics, you know, needles and things. It's kind of dangerous. You don't want to get stabbed by something like that, so you got to be cautious. Yeah, that's about that, I guess. So, testing 1 1 2, test 1 2 1 2. Right on. I don't have any software hooked up to this thing to where I can lower my voice or make it sound better. So, if my Southern California nasally toned accent is grinding on your ears, I apologize. That's the way we talk here, dude. Yeah, kind of an overcast day. The last couple days before this were quite sunny, nice, beautiful days. And I think, gosh, I'm sorry, my mind's kind of scattered. I'm going all over the place here because there's some things I want to talk about, but I wanted to save them for the podcast. Like I was going to talk about Disneyland and the amusement parks and how I'm looking forward to going back and doing that again. Spending some nice evenings there, running around in the park. Yeah. It's a gaming buddy, a guy I met playing Destiny 2. I joined his clan. This is over a year ago. And I kept in touch with him a little bit over the last... Some screaming outside there. We kind of more or less off and on stayed in touch through gaming. Like we'll see each other out there in the games once in a while because we're friends on Xbox. And and so I mentioned to him that I was thinking of doing a podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, it's, you know, do some type of collaboration. What are we going to talk about?" I was like, I don't know. My whole thing is just wing it. You know, you get in there and you just start letting it flow. But that could be a disaster. Right? Man, not feeling good. I rode my stationary bike really hard this afternoon. I pushed it kind of hard, and I've got a far infrared sauna that I bought quite a few years ago now, but it still works great. But it's, you know, the dry heat infrared sauna, and they get up to about 145 degrees in there. And so I rode the bike really hard, and I had that preheating. So I went directly from the bike ride into that sauna and sat in there for 20 minutes and sweat pretty good. And I'm starting to feel the effects now. kind of feel feverish, but I know I don't have a fever. I'm just saying I feel like I have a fever. I'm pretty sure I'm not sick. But out of a courtesy to others, my screensaver came on and I thought I lost the recording. Out of a courtesy to others, I am careful not to go near anyone. I don't want to, in case I do have something, I don't know. I very well could, and I would not want to spread disease out there, especially to somebody who's got elderly parents or something, or somebody who's compromised. Just went to Mars. I'm on Mars, man. Remember when my father passed away, I remember coming home from the funeral. I don't know if it was that night or a night afterwards, but it was during that summer when Mars was close to the Earth. And as I walked back from my mailbox towards my house, I'm kind of looking up at the sky and I could see Mars up there. It's pretty prominent. And I don't know. It's just these little things, you make these little connections. Like, I remember that being there thinking about my dad and how when I was a kid and we'd go up on the roof there at the house and look at the stars and just wonder about them. Neither of us knew much about astronomy or anything. We just looked at the stars and thought about if there was anything out there. Then we'd, maybe go inside and watch an episode of Cosmos with Carl Sagan or, something like that. It's a good childhood. My parents didn't do a whole lot with me, but it was still good. I have no complaints. Man, I miss my parents. My older sister too. She's gone. But yeah. So whew. I've told myself, right or wrong, I don't know, proper or improper, or correct or incorrect, that as I do my recordings like this, that I won't do too heavy on the editing, in the sense that if I screw up with what I'm saying, or if I have a moment there where my brain kind of goes lapse, or whatever, that I won't stop it and edit that out. I just leave it all in there because it's me. That's who I am, and I want this to be preserved. I'm here to preserve it as a person would preserve a Klingon skull. That's my own personal inside joke. What was that? What was I going to say? One way to preserve, in case nobody knew about this, there's a thing online called the Wayback Machine. I kind of discovered it, I don't know, not too long ago, a few months ago, end of last year, maybe beginning of this year. It's Wayback Machine. It's the Internet Archives. I didn't know that existed, And the cool thing about it is, if you happen to know, I guess, an old website or something address, the old URL, you put that in there and there's a chance that it could be stored on there, even if it doesn't exist anymore on the internet. Anyways, so I got to tinkering with it and I found that you can join it, and I made an account there, and I'm able to upload and store into the Internet Archive my own blog. I've got a blog and my Twitter and my web page. I've got a web page. I bought a domain through GoDaddy, which it was okay. I mean, it's nothing that I'm promoting necessarily, even though I did promote it on my YouTube. It's nothing that I put together like to say, hey, look at this, everybody. Isn't this cool? It's not what it's about. It's really about me making a journal for myself, and for now to have this kind of sense that perhaps going into the future, I don't know how much longer the earth has to be here. Is it going to end, tomorrow, and all of civilization be gone, all humanity wiped off the face of the earth? Or is it going to go on for thousands and eons, on with humanity? And then, so if that's the case, then I thought, well, perhaps the future societies would want to look back and see, well, what was life like for anybody in particular at this time? And then they would see my stuff archived there, and to help educate future races, future humanity. Not really, but because one of the things, yeah, that's right, man. I just remembered this, and I also keep a journal, right, a written journal. And man, if I shut my eyes right now, I suddenly exhausted myself there. I'm tired. Gosh, my brain goes blank so easy. I must have like one. Oh, and there my heart just skipped. I thought I was gonna die or something. I must have like one synapse that functions properly, and information can get bottlenecked in there because it's got to be like both ways, right? Stuff coming in and stuff coming out. What the heck was I? What was I saying, man? Oh, come on, strain. It's in there somewhere. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll probably rewatch this after, and then I'll see what I was talking about when I led up to this, and then I'll remember, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was talking about future repositories. I think that's what I was going to say. Let's see how this sounds. This makes a good effect. Hell. Yeah, it left my brain. Do not let your children play full contact football. Oh. I used my head as a battering ram out there. I was all league middle linebacker. A lot of good it did. Yeah, brain gone. But anyways, I guess I'll try to salvage this. Speaking of the internet archives, right? And how I'm making myself a journal. I've got written journals, I've got electronic journals, I've got Twitter, blogs, I've got this, which started out to be a gaming channel, and then it became like something more where I'm just kind of going on about things because it's got my gamer tag. Swarthos is my gamer tag. It means nothing. I know some people actually have the surname. I've seen people with the name Swartho. People ask me, "Is your name Swarthos?" It's like, no. It's based on misheard lyrics from 1989 when I would come home from work every day, and there was a television program called Alien Nation that was a spinoff of the movie Alien Nation with James Caan, but this was a television program. I really liked it. And they had like an alien song playing at the beginning or at the end or whatever, the theme song. And they're speaking alien language. And so I would just kind of hum the tune and I started saying Swarthos. And you know how songs get stuck, earworm, right? Get stuck in your head. And then fast forward to when it became time to play video games online through an Xbox account, and it says, well, you need a gamer tag. And I thought, well, I got to be original. Oh, let's go with this crap that's in my head for the last decade. And that's how it came about, but it means nothing. So, yeah. The hope being that, I just remembered what I was going to say. It just came to me now. Yeah, because of all that's going on with the coronavirus and all that, and it made me think of what life may have been like during the bubonic plague. Okay. And so online, you can do this too. You can look up old journals from that time or writings that they have preserved, like the Klingon skull. Writings that they preserved of people that were living during that time and how they wrote and, their observations and the way. And a lot of it's very similar to, the reports and rumors and things that go on today. And my personal work on that subject, where I'm recording what's going on, it pales in comparison. But I have a contribution to make to the Future Society. They put this into the great repository known as the Internet Archive. And there's another one too. I can't remember the name of it, but I also started uploading there. But online, I ordered this Lexan face shield. Not that I necessarily feel that I need to wear it out there. I just think it's cool to wear it out there in society because we're living in the future dystopia that I always talked about or dreamt about so much after watching multiple episodes of the Omega Man. As a matter of fact, not the Omega Man so much. No, I'm sorry. I get them mixed up. I meant Soylent Green, not Omega Man. But I kind of get the two mixed up because I love Charlton Heston. He was my dad's, favorite actor, and mine. I liked Charlton Heston as well. The movie Soylent Green. I even, because I'm the president of the water company, that I work for. I'm also the president, and so I make a lot of the directives and things of that nature. And so I also created the work badge for all of our, members. And I patterned them after the badge that Charlton Heston wears displays in Soylent Green. Well, loosely based on that. Some features of it. So I have that badge, which I can't show you. I don't have it with me. I wouldn't want you to know my real name anyways, right? Even though you could easily find it. I'm not trying to hide or anything, but what was I going to say? So yeah, I got this to wear during certain protocols out there, should they be initiated when I'm out there. I have two of those. I got one that I've really decked out where I've got it all modified and everything. I just want to say thank you to the subscribers. And again, I apologize because I feel inadequate to have subscribers. I never started this channel in the hopes that it would grow in any fashion. It was, like I said, it was for a future repository, the future great repository where all, future civilizations will study past lifestyles upon the planet. And I was hoping that mine would show up as a, oh yeah. And so, like I said, when I compared my journal talking about the coronavirus and the pandemic that we're living through now, compared to this guy from like the Middle Ages, medieval times. Oh man, mine sucks, right? It sucks. So I fear that if anyone does read what I've had to say or watches what I'm saying, they will be probably much more stupid for having watched it. And I know that sounds self-deprecating, and I've had people that say, "Oh, I'm really sick of your self-deprecating attitude." I'm like, well, I'm not really trying to be. I'm just being honest with myself. It is what it. I've seen it. So it's an honest report. It's fair. Yeah. So yeah, I'll work on that podcast, and hopefully I'll have an interview, or not an interview, but something with another human being, and we can talk on this podcast. I'll see. His name is iOption, is his gamer tag. So iOption and Swarthos, talking about things. But I'll save. I got some ideas. Hopefully I won't forget them, that I'll use on my podcast later, if pass out first. So, all right. I guess I'll go because I've rambled on enough. I appreciate everyone that has subscribed. I appreciate people who view, and if you'd like to leave a comment or whatever. I have not done anything on if you're still watching this, thanks. I don't know if I could have made it this far. I haven't looked into the Comet Atlas lately. I mean, how that's coinciding with the plague and all that. Hopefully it means absolutely nothing. I just thought it was interesting that there's a connection there. So I have no information on that. I suspect, though, if it continues on its trajectory and is even remotely visible, it's going to be a big deal. But we're coming up on that big deal, aren't we? What are we on here? 17 April right now? I mean, we're getting close to it being on top of us. And then I'm just kind of wondering, people will say, well, yeah, we got the plagues, and we got this comet kind of confirming it as an official plague event. And one thing I'll probably talk about tonight is the swarm of locusts. Locusts swarming through Africa, Sub-Sahara, I guess, and maybe moving up into the Middle East there, maybe. Who knows? Will that cause a famine? Will that be, another one of the four horsemen type things where we have plagues, pestilence, famines? We got the earthquakes. We're already getting earthquakes all over the place. We're here in Los Angeles. We're still on lockdown. I know there's parts of the world where they don't have the death tolls that we have, here, like in LA and New York. It's pretty unsettling to turn on the news and see all these bodies. I mean, they got so many bodies that they can't. They've run out of room at the morgue, so they're putting them into tractor trailers, frozen trucks, to keep the bodies there until they can properly bury them. My mother's in a nursing home. She has dementia, and I'm not able to visit her. I do call her. Gosh, sometimes, she thinks I'm somebody else, but at least I get to hear her voice, and there's moments of lucidity. Is that the right word? Silent Lucidity by Queensryche. Remember that song? Jet City Woman. Yeah, Queensryche. Queensryche. Reminds me of my uncle who used to come out and visit, and he talked with a whistle. And he would say, I know I'm getting close to the West Coast because I see all these signs that say tacos. All right, man. Thanks for watching. Swarthos out.